Hi, good afternoon everybody. I'm Robert Waters. I'm on work at Birmingham City University. Thank you. Today we're going to talk about apprentices' journey of two of our higher apprentices, and also we'll talk about the different courses that we're actually doing. So, making a start, I've already said good afternoon. It's the Apprenticeship Festival. And I'm Rob Waters, as I said. I'm a senior lecturer and operational lead in apprenticeships. And that's for construction and the built environment. My goal, or our goal holistically, for the university is to increase our apprenticeship cohort, but still deliver a quality and innovative journey for our students and our apprentices. We've got vast knowledge and vast experience from a construction background and from a healthcare and engineering and other backgrounds. Also, I want to ensure we make it an exceptional learning experience for all our apprentices and communicate, which is very vital at this point, with all the employers and the apprenticeship journey as we go through. So that's the most important thing here for apprentices, is keeping on top of their work, but also to actually liaise with their employer to ensure that the student or apprentice knows exactly what they have to do. Right, why is apprentices important for me? Because in the mid-80s, I became an apprentice. I was an indentured apprentice for construction and building services company. Then I basically, indentured is where you used to sign the papers, and also I worked up to a project manager's role, and then changed and then became a lecturer, but I got involved in actually looking after the apprentices. So the apprentices at heart has always been important for me. I carried on teaching HNCs, HNDs, and working with young students who are very challenging. I ended up finishing working as a higher level apprenticeship manager at level 4 and level 5, and which helped me work all the way from as an apprentice at level 2. I've completed a master's, and hopefully moving forward I've got other plans to do for the future as well. For next half hour, 20 minutes, we're going to discuss about the roles of the apprenticeship, but our main 24 programmes include health, education and life sciences, architecture, broadcast engineering, business, chartered surveyors, construction site managers, fire safety engineers, electronics engineers. So all the main important parts of Birmingham, engineering, care, construction, we offer apprenticeships. We're working with large companies to offer higher apprenticeships throughout. Today, we've got 2 apprentices here to discuss their journey, one from the health and also from quantity surveying. Erin Carpenter is a QS apprentice, and Magda Woods, Carpenter and Woods, you never get that, operating department, practitioner apprentice. So, Erin, do you want to come on first? Is that okay? I'm going to stay on stage because I've got the part here. So if you come on, you'll need a microphone.
Hi, I'm Erin. Are you gonna?
Can I hear you?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm doing a quantity surveying apprenticeship with Birmingham City University, and I'm just going to talk to you about what I do for work, day to day, and what the apprenticeship involves. Okay. So I'm doing a Bachelor of Science Quantity Surveying degree, which is accredited by the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. I also work for National Highways, so they do my apprenticeship for me. So I work for them 4 days a week, and then I go to university 1 day a week. and obviously I come to Birmingham City University that 1 day a week to study towards my degree. So I chose to do an apprenticeship. Well, firstly, I decided to do quantity surveying as a full-time student for my first year. And then once I'd done my first year, I kind of started looking for apprenticeships, just based on conversations with lecturers and talking to other apprentices. They were getting a lot of experience, and it was kind of helping them a lot more in the degree. So I applied to National Highways for an apprenticeship. But yeah, you get a lot of experience, obviously, because you're working 4 days a week in the industry. You're surrounded by people that work in the industry. You can ask questions whenever you need to. And obviously, when you graduate as well, you'll have 5 years of experience under your belt, compared with, obviously, if you're a full-time degree student, you would graduate without any experience, really. And then, obviously, your employer will pay for all of your student fees, so you won't have any student debt at the end of it, which is always a plus. So yeah, when I was doing my A-levels, I was looking into doing quantity surveying, and I ended up looking down the apprenticeship route to begin with, and I wasn't successful. I applied to a few places, didn't get anywhere, so I just decided to apply full-time and just have the student experience, I guess, for the first year. And then speaking to apprentices and lecturers during my first year, I decided it might be worth trying to apply again in the summer after my first year. So that's what I did. I was successful, got an apprenticeship with National Highways. This was during COVID, so when I went back to uni in September, I just transferred to the part-time version of the same course. So what I'd already done in my first year, I hadn't lost any of it. They just transferred me to the part-time course, and I went on to my third year part-time. So that was all online because of COVID. I think it's just this semester just gone that we started coming back into classrooms, which was really good to get back. But yeah, that's what I do now. So I work 4 days a week and go to uni 1 day a week for my degree. So what I enjoy most about my apprenticeship, so obviously working with and being surrounded by everyone in the industry, you've got a wealth of knowledge at your fingertips, basically. Send an email to anyone, message anyone if you have any questions. They're really good at answering, and they're always really happy to help because they know that you're in the apprenticeship to learn, so they just want to benefit that learning as much as possible. So at the moment I work on the HS2 Phase 1 interface team at Highways England. National Highways, sorry, we had a name change. And so I commercially manage the interfaces where they're building their railway over our motorways and major A roads. So any work that we need to do on our roads to facilitate their construction, I kind of commercially manage those contractors and suppliers to carry out that work. So challenges in my work, I have to make sure that information is always available for kind of directors and top managers so that they can make informed decisions about the project and contracts and kind of contractual procedures that we need to go through in the project. And obviously managing supply chain relationships is a big part of my job. You want to kind of foster a trusting relationship between your suppliers. You don't want a negative working environment with them, so that's a really important factor as well. That's fine. So my typical day involves, I tried to write this slide a few times, but I don't have a typical day, I guess you could say. It changes every day, which is part of the reason I love what I do. You can kind of log on to your computer in the morning, check emails, start to write a to-do list, but there's a very high chance you won't actually get through that to-do list because something will come in that you need to deal with throughout the day. Obviously, there's some things that you kind of know that you're going to have to do. You have like team meetings or reviews with suppliers, things like that. But yeah, it's very different day to day. So it's really good experience to get such a different type of learning every day. But yeah, updating trackers to reflect progress on projects, going through application for payments and making sure suppliers are actually doing what they're saying in their invoices. So yeah, there's a lot of benefits to doing an apprenticeship. Obviously, like I've already spoken about, there's a lot of on-the-job learning that you can get while working 4 days a week. So yeah, again, being surrounded by knowledgeable people in the industry, networking that the job provides. You meet a lot of people through different meetings and things like that at work. So you're working with suppliers as well. So I work for a client organisation, and you meet a lot of contractors as well. So you meet both sides of the industry, which is really useful for your future relationships. Obviously, you get a salary while you're at university, which is a plus. Gaining industry experience that you wouldn't have if you were doing a full-time degree. So I'll graduate next year with 5 years of industry experience, whereas someone graduating from a full-time degree, unless they've done a placement year, wouldn't have any. And I've learned that experience is a big factor in the construction industry and in this job. So yeah, and the application of work-based learning to your degree as well. I think apprentices find the degree somewhat easier than full-time students because obviously you're working with it day to day, and it's easier to apply that knowledge to university, and then vice versa. You can apply what you've learnt in university back to your work. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. So I'm planning, well, hopefully, going to graduate next summer. So I'm going into my final year of my apprenticeship in September. And then I plan to sit my APC with the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. So that will make me a chartered quantity surveyor. Hopefully I'll be able to do that in spring 2024. And then, yeah, I continue to just work in the industry, go into commercial management role, and yeah, continue. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Erin. We'll answer some questions at the end. So I'm going to ask Magda to come up on stage now. If you can pop back up after at the end, and I'll give you the microphone and you can answer some questions accordingly. I'd like to introduce you to Magda. Magda's going to talk about her role as an apprentice. So I'll hand you over to Magda. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So my name is Magda, like Rob said, and I'm an apprentice in operating department practitioner. To most of you, as it was to me just more than a year ago, it was completely unknown profession. So I've been working for NHS for the last 5 years, and since I started working for NHS as a healthcare assistant, really quickly it became obvious to me that this is the career path I want to take. Because I had a young daughter, I wasn't able to become a full-time student. So I started looking into apprenticeships, and our trust offered quite a few, and I decided to try to find out a bit more about operating department practitioner. Our role is essential in a patient's perioperative journey, so we are there to support the patient all the way through their journey. And it's a 3-year course. I'm still employed by my trust, but I'm studying in a partnership with PCU. We do blocks, and some hospitals do it differently. It depends which trust you employ to. Our trust gives us 6 to 8 weeks placements, and then we have 3 weeks of university. We do different placements around the hospital. An ODP role has three major parts, which is anaesthetics, scrub, and recovery. And we get experience in all those three main parts in our day-to-day work. And so because I'm Polish and I had my degree in Poland, I had to apply to UK ENIC to have my diploma translated and reevaluated to English standards. It was quite a simple task, and there was quite a few different options to get onto the course. You can go through the UCAS points, your A-levels, GCSEs, or portfolio level. The course takes 3 years, and when you qualify, you become registered by HCPC, which is Healthcare Profession Council, and that has 14 different professions registered within them. Why do I enjoy my apprenticeship? Because it still allows me to work with patients and gain experience and lets me see what my work would look like when I qualify. And I still am there for the patient and become their advocate and support them through the most difficult, for most of the patients, most difficult day of their life, whilst for me it's another day at work. Despite the fact I'm learning, it is still work, whilst for someone that might be the worst day they've ever experienced. This role and being in the job while studying shows me what my job will look like, and also teaches me what are my weaknesses, what I need to work on, what do I enjoy, and as well, because you're part of the really big multidisciplinary team that involves surgeons, anaesthetists, nurses, theatre support workers. We work as a big team to look after our patient, and we learn about each other, we learn about our weaknesses, and gaining that experience, that's irreplaceable. You can't replace that. So for those 3 years, you get this experience, and therefore, when you then qualify, you know your team members, you know your weaknesses, you know your strengths, and you can be there for each other. And you still trust the employee. So through those through the university, you earning a wage, which was the main thing for me, because, like I said, I knew that's the career I want to take. I was unable to do it due to financial situation, but going through apprenticeship, that allows me to have still steady income and be a student and become a healthcare professional. So there's lots of opportunities to continue your education if you want to. There is lots of different roles you can fulfill as ODP. You can concentrate on anaesthetics. You can do scrub, which is help to a surgeon passing instruments to different operations. You can work in recovery, helping patients to recover after the operations. But there is also different options. So you can become a practice educator. You can work in endoscopy suites. You can work in A&E. You can work in ITU. So the options are there. You can also continue your education and get more knowledge in different areas. I'm really passionate about my studies, and I think it's an incredible opportunity to work for NHS, especially what we've been through recently. And I think that's it from me, unless anyone's got any questions.
Okay. Hold on, in case someone's got questions. Thank you very much, Magda, and thank you, Erin. The important thing is, it's not just about the money though as well. I know the money's important, it's great. You're going to save on a student loan, maintenance, you might be closer to home as well, therefore the parents save money. But the most important thing as well is you're gaining experience, and companies will be looking at that CV, looking, okay, he's a graduate or she's a graduate. Oh, they've had experience, they've got work experience. Oh, we won't have to train them for that. That's absolutely fantastic. And that's what you need to look at. Now, obviously, you need to look at whatever specialism interested you in, qualification you want to do. Do some research. Look at the companies. Look at, if you, for example, construction. Look at the main construction companies around this area. Tilbury Douglas, Kia, Waits, Mace. HS2 is going on at the moment, so important. There's absolutely, the world is your oyster at the moment. Not just construction, engineering. We're living in the West Midlands. There's a massive renewables. There's a massive influx of manufacturing work. That's what you need to start looking at, and this is what you need to look at the companies involved. Do some background work, really work on that CV. Also, what you want to try and do is have a look on the internet which companies have got actual advertisements for jobs, what vacancies. Indeed as well, they've got a part for apprentices. Look at their apprenticeships. Also, look at the apprenticeships.gov, that leads you to a link for vacancies, etc. We're trying to get placements, or we're working on placements as well in our area, which is construction, and hopefully we'll get placements for students, and then if the companies are interested, let's push them towards the apprenticeship road. That's going through the development foundation stage, funny enough, at this very moment. So don't just think about the money, think about what else there is to do. What I'm going to do now is put them out now to any questions. Has anyone got any questions about the apprenticeships? If we've actually got a stall downstairs, so if you want to pop down there, we can give you our links. We can explain a bit more about any specific courses. It's really important. But remember, if you're young, you've got to do your job for the next 40 years. Maybe when you get older, it might be even longer. So you've got to embrace what you've got to do and make sure you enjoy it and love it. If you get into construction, love buildings, love construction, so definitely have a look at what you want to do over the next few years. Because I just had a student down there doing a course and wants to change. So have a good think before you jump into something. Make sure you're going to enjoy it, which is more important. So has anyone got any questions? Yes, sir. Hold on, coming down.
Do you think it's hard to balance a degree and a job?
I did it when I was an apprentice. It is quite time consuming, I'm not going to lie to you. I worked for a company, done my apprenticeship, I had a day off, but they wouldn't let you have time. I had a day off to do the college work, but I had to do the work in my own time, the studying. If I can do it, you can do it. It's time consuming, but the main thing is, it's mainly about organising your time, planning your time, looking at goals. I've got to get this done by next week. Make sure if you do that, set yourself a couple of nights a week or a bit at the weekend, you'll do it. But what you've got to do is make sure you don't leave everything to the last moment, but it is good to do. And as I say, you're gaining that experience. That's an excellent question, by the way. Well done.
Can I just add something, as I've got a fresh experience? It is challenging, but I think it's finding that routine and sticking to it. And our trust is really good. So if you've got an issue and you've got a couple assignments coming up, you can always go and talk to them, and they are really, really helpful. So they might give you an extra study day, or they might suggest you can take a couple of days of annual leave to catch up with it. So it is doable, and if I can do it in a foreign language, you can do it for sure. Okay?
Excellent, well done, Magda, thank you very much. Anyone got any more questions? Everyone okay? I hope you enjoyed that. As I say, come down and have a chat. We can talk to you about specific companies to research if you're interested in construction, etc. Have a look at. Also, quantity surveying, there's companies like Faithful and Gould and other companies that actually deal with QS that specialises in it. As I say, the world's your oyster, so I wish you all the best, and thank you very much. Have a lovely afternoon and enjoy the sun. Bye.